After our own Diagon Alley was so much fun for us, our helpful house elves, our clever cast members, and over 5,000 guests for Halloween and Christmas, we knew dismantling Diagon Alley would be difficult, but we didn't expect a record wet winter that wouldn't even let us start teardown until weeks after we officially closed. Oh boy! So we've done what we could. Hopefully it's good enough. November 1st started an exceptionally rainy winter for us, with several big storms literally blowing through with up to 60 miles per hour winds. We rushed to remove the Christmas garlands, string lights, backstage computers, and hanging shop signs before that big January storm, but hoped our tarps would protect the rest until we could dismantle the shops in drier weather. Thankfully, we had our palm tree pruned professionally 3 years ago, so it didn't drop anything on Diagon Alley, unlike the neighbor tree behind us that blew down 38 giant palm fronds I had to haul out to the street. Finally, we had a few dry days, so I was able to rush window display props inside to dry thoroughly before organizing and packing them into storage bins. I felt accomplished that all the books fit into the monster cage, and that most of the Quidditch decor fit inside the Quidditch trunk. I had to remove all the speakers, projectors, and microphones from the shop attic spaces before we could remove all the glass window panels. I needed extra hands not only for unscrewing the window panels from the shops, but also to wrap them in movers plastic for storage. Thanks to Gail and Kevin for all their help in often awkward positions. I stacked all the windows in the garage until I could take them in 3 loads in our SUV to our newly rented off-site storage unit. With all the windows removed, I could take down all the attic boxes and round can sections by myself, labeling everything as I set them aside so we can put this giant puzzle back together in a few years. I needed Charles to remove the Honeyduke's roof since I didn't see him assemble it, so he also helped me wrap those in plastic to protect the shingles. It did take me a couple days up and down the ladder to get everything down, but thankfully we had clear weather to keep all the pieces dry. There were a few windows where I needed to wait for Glenn to coordinate removing the electrical through the walls to the props before the platforms could be removed. There was a lot of electrical equipment backstage for our Diagon Alley shops to make our magic, which meant there was a lot to dismantle that required Glenn's time both before and afterwards. I was finally to the point where I needed help again, and Glenn had just had eye surgery, so I was not allowing him to lift anything per doctor's orders. So Charles and I removed all the signposts first, then he removed the tarp above the leaky cauldron roof, while I used the angle grinder to make any last screws safe to stack for storage. Next, we removed all the vertical 2x6 window support beams and loaded them straight into our SUV for my next storage haul. We still had enough time that day to tackle the walls. Charles prepared by unscrewing the nuts and washers, then pounding the bolts back so we could just pull the flats apart and stack them along the house. Okay, let's take this apart. I had cut the tarps away from how Charles stapled them through extra yardsticks, but I couldn't reach to pry out the staples until all the window structures were removed, so I was prying along the top of the wall ahead of Charles already dismantling the wall behind me, but our job went much faster when I helped with the walls. We even had enough time that same day to remove the Ollivander's 12-foot-long 2x6 vertical window supports and both upstairs flats, everything safely stacked leaning along the house and palm tree. I was extremely pleased that the Ollivander's top cans fit inside the Borgin & Burke's and Madame Malkin's cans to save storage space. After 4 more trips to the storage unit, I had moved everything I could with that vehicle. We had enough time before Charles could help again to take the brick panels off the leaky cauldron. Glenn was still on lifting restriction from his eye surgery, but I allowed him to guide the panels to the ground, no actual lifting, which was a great help with the fragile corners of those panels. When Charles returned, the pub ceiling came down first, with me labeling every single piece, since the weird triangle structure could be confusing to put together next time. The 12 by 16 by 8 foot triangular pub took a whole day itself to dismantle, leaving us with a view we hadn't seen for 6 months. We tarped everything the best we could, since of course rain was due again over the weekend. To keep Glenn's eye healing well, Charles and I loaded all the flats, large plywood, and signposts into the rental truck and played Tetris in our storage unit, thankfully in clear weather. It unfortunately took 2 loads since the 17-foot truck doesn't actually have 17 feet internal floor space, so duly noted for next time. I'll be rearranging the stacks of windows better later, but we have plenty of room for our teardrop trailer and even some future Halloween plans. Farewell from us for now. Thank you for watching. Thanks to all who shared our Halloween cheer, and huge thanks to everyone who helped with designing, building, running, and dismantling Diagon Alley. Until next time.